Hi again, welcome back to the series Pandemic Practicums, where I'm looking at ways that we can learn to support ourselves and other people as we go through this together. If this is your first time here, my name's Diane Strickland, and I'm a community and workplace traumatologist, critical incident responder, compassion fatigue therapist, and been ordained for over 30 years. And I'm really glad to be able to spend some time with you to share things I've learned along that path that may be of use to you. This video is actually not the one that I told you I was going to do in the last video. And that's because I've been paying attention to what people are saying in various meetings and forums that I'm on, and also in receiving the numbers associated with the pandemic during this time. I felt like maybe I needed to hit the pause button on things that are about information, 1, 2, 3, and here's what you do with that information, ABC. I felt we needed to move to a slightly different place and get a hold of something called hope. How does hope say hello? That can be the engine that's humming through us and keeping us going when we're shaky, or to encourage other people beside us who falter. So how does hope say hello in times like these? I'm going to run up 2 red flags before we get into the real meat, although this is important. In my other trauma work, we often talk about the difference between hopium and hope. And that's the first distinction we want to make here. Hopium is actually an irrational kind of optimism, and it's usually sold to benefit or comfort the seller, not so much the buyer. Hopium dealers in a crisis will tell you everything's fine, you're overreacting, everything's under control, and we're all just poised for greatness. Facts and real information or lived experience are never brought to the table. They have nothing to do with hopium. Some politicians and religious groups, social gurus, and media influencers do a fine hopium trade during times like this. But they're not trading in hope, because hope always has room for and is never defeated by facts or information or lived experiences, because the currency of hope is reality, not delusion. When I was in congregational ministry, during the season of Advent, which is the time before Christmas, we would light the candles on the Advent wreath. And the first candle, we would light it and we would always talk about hope. And in the whole life I had in ministry, in congregations, I always said this: we call this candle hope because it is the only candle that is strong enough to shine by itself in the darkness. Hope is not afraid of the reality. It wants to know every corner of it so it can shine as effectively as possible. Hopium is not hope because it can't do that. And the second red flag is a little more subtle, and it's a habit we have in common discourse during difficult times. We are socially constrained from talking about our fears. We don't like to do that, and we don't know how to do that very well. But at the same time, we must talk about them because the anxiety can be almost unbearable. So we take our fears and we tart them up for common discourse by saying things like, I hope I don't get cancer again. I hope he won't drink too much tonight. I hope I don't screw this up. I hope they will reconcile. I hope there's enough money in the bank. Now that sounds like hope. That's the word they're using. But if you listen carefully, does it really sound like hope? I think it sounds like what we're afraid of. So see how easily we can take that and switch hope out for being afraid. I'm afraid I'm going to get cancer again. I'm afraid he's going to drink too much. I'm afraid I'm going to screw this up. I'm afraid they won't reconcile. I'm afraid there's not enough money in the bank. See how easily that happens? That's because we have to find a way to talk about our fears, so we cloak them with the word hope. Now, none of those statements, when we use the word hope, really reveal hope, inspire it, provide it, or witness to it. Because we're not really talking about our hope, we're talking about our fears. Now, that doesn't actually mean every time someone says, I hope, that they're talking about their fears. But I'm inviting you to listen really carefully to those statements that you hear now, because most of the time you may be hearing fear, not hope. And in those moments, you can say, I'm afraid too. I'm afraid of that too. So we need to go deeper than those kinds of statements if we're going to find the hope that sustains us, no matter what happens, no matter if all our worst fears are realized, is there a hope that will sustain us anyway? Because that hope has to be bigger than hopium and bigger than our fears. Sometimes we meet people in life and we see that that kind of hope already belongs to them. And they're often people who have lost a great deal already, who've faced considerable obstacles. Maybe they lost their health, or they live with a challenge every single day that is a health challenge. Maybe their trust in someone has been shattered and they counted on that person. Maybe the death of a child has been a part of their story, or maybe the dream of one, and it's gone. All of those things happen to people, and in order to survive that, they have to leave all the facsimiles of hope behind and find the real ones in order to keep going. And all of those things are happening right now to people's lives, and they're going to continue to happen. And there were more things that are going to happen. There's a loss of security about the future. There's a loss of financial independence. There's a loss for some people of just the time itself, which was an opportunity in life that they're never going to get back. So what in the midst of all those true things will keep us going forward and participating in life with all that we have and all that we are? We've excavated the superficial layers, and now we have to go deeper and find out what we really know and believe about hope. So I'm going to ask you some questions. What direction do you perceive as the strongest energy that is at work in creation? Is it a dynamic that is towards life and renewal? Or is it an energy that is towards death and decline? A second question, is there more energy at work in this world through people that is towards life, that affirms life? Or is there more towards death and that denies life? Whether or not you have a spirituality or a specific shape to that spirituality, those are questions you can work with. Some of us do have a spirituality, and we have a name for it. We have an understanding about a dynamic in life that we believe is sacred, that's at work all the time. And for me, the name is grace, and I believe that even when we are still in the shock of what has happened, grace is already at work, recovering the future for us, rebuilding it, and making it possible for us to go on. That's always towards life, and hope aligns that way for me. It participates in that, and that's how it says hello. It's not about everything we've lost. It's about where we're still going anyway. So I look at my old maple tree and I see the cycle that it goes through every year. That tree is the same tree every year, but it's not. And that's the strangeness of it. Over the winter it will lose sometimes really big branches. It will be changed, and in the spring maybe new branches will grow and the leaves come out. They don't come out always in exactly the same places as they did last year. They may not come out at the same time. And the shape of the tree, it's familiar, but it's different. That's how hope works for me. It tells me that we're still going. We will still be. We will be changed and different, but we are still here. And even after that tree dies, how many other trees will it have planted in this world? How is hope saying hello to you? One day for me, it was a client who had been through awful things in her life. And her life had been pretty much deconstructed, and she didn't recognize herself in any of it anymore. She felt she had lost herself. And in the middle of this really intense conversation, she made a joke. And it was survivor humor, but it was really funny. And we probably laughed a little too hard at it, and we laughed long. And when we caught our breath, I looked at her and I said, "You're still in there." And the moment I said it, we both started to cry a bit because we realized that it was the laughter that had told us that. And I was able to give it back to her and say, "There you are." That was a moment of great hope. It was also, for me, watching the chickadee who kept company with us all winter long. No matter how cold it got, there was the chickadee out looking for food and surviving and living its life. Sometimes it's the mountains sitting there in the distance here in Alberta, doing their thing and thinking about just how long they've been being mountains. We have to let hope tell us what it means, not the reverse. We have to let hope say hello the way it wants to, the way it is saying it all the time. Even now, we are hearing hello if we pay attention. For me, it's been a lot of what artists have been doing to bring their gifts to the stress and the hardship of this time. It's virtual choirs singing and wonderful videos of that. A wonderful, the Alvin Ailey Dance Company, the other day I found a virtual dance performance that they put online for people to enjoy. These are people saying we're aligning our lives with that life force, and we're trying to remind you of it. It's still at work. Look at it. It looks like this today. Tomorrow it will be someone else's turn to show it. It says hello every day when people decide, okay, it's 7 o'clock, we're going to go out and we're going to sing or we're going to clap and say thank you to grocery clerks and cleaning people and medical staff who have aligned their lives with that force of life. And we want to recognize that we know they're doing it and they're giving us hope and to keep going. It says hello in people who are figuring out how to make a ventilator keep more than one person alive. And they do it. They manage to do it. That is hope saying hello. We're going to get through this. It says hello in clergy and ministers across the world who, in the most stressful time of their lives are trying to learn new technologies so they can hit the live button on Sunday morning and talk to their people about the hope that is in them. For me, in this crisis, is also about thinking about the people who I know are all over the world. I'll never meet them, but they're all over the world working on finding solutions to different angles of this problem. And they're going to emerge, those solutions. They're going to emerge. And I want to be working in my life, participating in that kind of hope, in that kind of energy and life direction. It doesn't matter how it ends for me. That's how I want to be living my life. Hope is saying hello all the time. How is it saying hello for you? In this pandemic, look for one thing every day that speaks to you about that energy and align with it. and take strength from it and give that strength to yourself and to other people. A while ago, I did an interview with the Anglican Journal that I think is out this month. And it was about one of the disasters I worked in up in Fort McMurray. And the interviewer, I don't even know if this question got in there, but the interviewer asked me how disaster recovery work had changed me. And I told him that I believed more in people now. And it was probably a little embarrassing, having been a minister for a long time, to realize that I'm not sure if I had really believed that much in people before that. But in seeing people face really hard truths and facts and deal with outcomes and great loss on every front, because it just keeps coming in a disaster. It's not just about the fire and what you lose in that. Your life becomes very diminished in other ways, but people keep going because hope was still saying hello, and they aligned with it however it came, and they kept going. Because somehow, even though they were diminished, they were becoming more. That's also the hope I have known in my own life and in my own experience. And now, when I look at people, I think of you where you are, and I want you to know this is possible. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what you're going to lose. It's going to be hard, and the recovery is going to be difficult for all of us. But I believe it's in you to do it, and you will find the way. There is hope. And it's asking us to align with it and to participate in it. There's a lot of hope saying hello to us. I have fears, but I have hope. And I truly hope for all that we're going to be in this together and all that we are still becoming because of it. May you find that hope for yourself and for the people that you love. Thanks for giving me your attention again. And I invite you to please share this video if you found it at all helpful for you. I'm really glad to be able to do it. And I just want to mention Mark Latoni, who's my videographer and who does all the post-production on this. He's in this too, and also wants to be a part of knowing what it means to encourage people to come into their lives and to keep them going. So we're in this together. And more videos are coming. Don't forget, you can comment below. You can write to me at the email that's indicated, I think, up here. And also like and subscribe. If you subscribe, then you'll know when these will be coming out, because unfortunately I can't keep a regular schedule because I have to do my other work sort of around these things. So they're coming out at different times. So subscribe and you'll know when they come. So thank you again, and until next time, see you later.